Welcome back to the Savvy Psychologist podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Ellen Hendrickson, and every week I'll help you meet life's challenges with evidence-based research, a sympathetic ear, and zero judgment. Chronic pain is a pain in the neck, back, and anywhere else. It can disrupt your work, your relationships, and by extension, your mental health. So this week, by request from listener Kristen from Utah, we'll talk about 5 tips to deal with the common challenge of chronic pain. So the common challenge of chronic pain. When I say common, I really mean common. According to the Institute of Medicine, a whopping 100 million Americans, that's 1 in 3, suffer from some sort of chronic pain. And if you're one of them, chances are at least one doctor has told you it's all in your head. So the trick is that chronic pain wears many disguises. Sometimes chronic pain is psychosomatic, which does not mean it's all in your head or that you're faking. That's another term, malingering. But it does mean that your very real pain is caused by psychological factors like stress or depression. Other times, to everyone's befuddlement, pain is caused by a mysterious injury that may or may not be visible on X-rays or MRIs. And in other cases, there's an underlying condition like arthritis, fibromyalgia, or neuropathy. And if those weren't enough options, sometimes chronic pain stems from damage to the nerves and spinal cord, the pain system itself. In the comprehensive book that inspired some of these tips, Managing Pain Before It Manages You, Dr. Margaret A. Caudill likens chronic pain to a fire alarm that keeps clanging long after the fire is out. But whether your chronic pain stems from any of the 4 sources I mentioned, it's still, well, a pain. And for those with migraines, back pain, joint pain, or anyone else who knows tension headaches are for amateurs, here are your 5 tips to manage your chronic pain. Tip number 1, this pain is not your fault, but you are responsible for taking care of it. In other words, own your pain. Hear me out on this one. Too often we get caught up in existential rumination like why we have this pain or what we did to deserve this, and most often we expect the healthcare system to rescue us. And when it fails, we get caught up in blame and anger. The result, tension builds, which leads to, you guessed it, more pain. So to stop the cycle, decide that you will be the driver of your pain. Doctors and therapists will be there to help, but you are in charge of your pain. Tip number 2, be active. Hear me out on this one too. It's counterintuitive. You may think you should rest and protect the painful part of your body. You may be scared to move for fear of more pain. But while rest is essential for acute pain, like a sprained ankle or pulled muscle, rest reinforces chronic pain. As your muscles get weak and stiff from inactivity, the pain may actually get worse. So, do what activity you can. Ride a bike, walk, swim, do chair exercises, find a gentle yoga class, lift light weights, and don't skip physical therapy. An important trick is to break up exercise into shorter chunks. Try for 3 10-minute walks rather than 1 long walk. And also, try not to leave activity until late in the day. You'll likely be too tired or simply unmotivated. Being active has one last benefit. It makes you feel like less of a prisoner of your own pain. You can set goals, get outside, team up with friends, all of which stave off depression and hopelessness in addition to reducing your pain. Tip number 3, track your pain. I know. You don't even want to think about your pain, much less keep track of it. But keeping a pain diary can help you make connections between what you do and how you feel. So, take a week or 2 to track your activity during the day and how much pain you feel. You don't have to track every detail, just broad strokes like sat at my desk all morning or grocery shopping will do. Then rate your pain. The classic from your doctor's office is the 0 to 10 scale, where 0 is no pain and 10 is the worst pain you've ever experienced. Don't be afraid to use the whole scale. You don't want an unhelpful chart loaded with 5s and nothing else. Then, once you've tracked your pain for a week or 2, look for patterns. Maybe you feel worse after time on your feet, after sitting at a computer, or in days after you've pushed yourself. Finally, use your newfound data to modify your environment and schedule. If sitting at your desk at work is killing your back, ask to have your chair evaluated or even aim for a standing desk. If your joint pain flares from preparing dinner, break it up into smaller chunks or delegate when you can. Tip number 4, don't push through it. It will get worse, I guarantee. So, resist getting all indignant and showing the pain who's boss. You may push through and accomplish everything on your to-do list, but the next morning, you won't be able to get out of bed. So instead of strong-arming your pain, try a technique called pacing. The rule of pacing is to stop an activity before you're in pain. Go by time, not task. Time how long you can comfortably do activities that are challenging for you, like typing, driving, or cleaning. Once you know your limits, aim to do those activities for less time than your limit, and then take a break before your pain flares. For example, instead of powering through the dishes, do them for 5 minutes, then take a break and pay a bill. Then wash for 5 more minutes, and then take a break to fold some laundry while sitting in a chair. Finally, finish up with 5 last minutes. It takes some work to change your habits, but it's much easier to prevent pain than it is to quell it once you're in the throes. And last, tip number 5, question your beliefs about your pain. This is the big one. Your thoughts may be working against you. So remember what we said at the beginning. Own your pain. And one way to do that is to question your old beliefs about pain. You may find yourself saying, "This will never get any better," or "My pain makes me a bad mom," or "I should be able to muscle through this," or "If I can't work, I can't ever let myself do something fun. That would be too indulgent." So, shine a bright light on your beliefs and ask if they're really working for you. Chances are you'll find some duds, so recalibrate. Instead, you can say, "I can have an impact on my pain," or "I face more challenges than the average mom, but I'm not bad. Plus, I set a good example by trying hard." Or "I don't have to power through, I'll outsmart my pain by pacing." Or finally, "Even if I can't work, doing fun things gives me the energy to keep fighting my pain." To wrap up, no, you're not alone. 42 million Americans' sleep is disturbed by pain more than once a week. 26 million Americans suffer from frequent back pain, and $600 billion annually are either spent by the healthcare system on chronic pain or lost due to decreased productivity and disability. In short, if you're in pain, you're in good company, and it is not all in your head. Well, okay, unless it's a headache, but you get the picture.